Topping Talks.
Let's see it.
105 hours a week, can't be beat. Welcome to Topping Talks. Topping Talks is a Topping Tribune production, and today's episode is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies and ExpressVPN. Topping Talks is also on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and Stitcher. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day, have to say. Quite handsome and brilliant. If you're a business in Texas and can use the hand, you can reach them at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, are you part of the 3.6% of Americans who still care about their privacy? If you are, then perfect. ExpressVPN can assist. Even though 96% of stats are made up on Sprott, ExpressVPN does give a 100% guarantee via their 30-day back money guarantee. Now, without further ado, I'm proud to say today I'm interviewing Xavier Kelly, who is the co-founder of Kelly's Rentals. Thanks so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
I appreciate that. I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. So winding back the clock a little bit, tell me about kind of how you got first introduced to IT and your family. And it sounds like you've been in it for a while.
Yeah. So my aunt went to MIT, and her and my uncle, they met there. And then that's when I spent a lot of time, like basically we spent all our summers with them. Mm-hmm. And they always push on there because we see what they're working on. And I got to see a different type of world, just, just being around with them and stuff like that. Right. So like, my aunt was a big programmer. My uncle starting little small businesses on the side.
Oh, cool.
And learning things like that. My aunt's more on the SQL side, mm-hmm. doing all the database and everything like that. So I just started learning a lot, and then they kept like putting little things on us and having us do this, do that. And, you need to learn how to do this. Like I told her I wanted to start a software company, right. And she said, you want to start a software company, but you don't know how to build any software. Yeah. And I said, I don't need to. I have you. And so, kind of like that. And so that's kind of generally kind of where I kind of started at from my family side. My uncle bought my cousin's dad. My uncle bought a laptop.
Oh, yeah.
And then it was like an old laptop, and I started just like making like website. It's a site called like Homestead. I don't know what it's called, something like that. And I started doing like plug and play websites and doing a little bit of CSS, and then just kept building from there.
That's awesome. I know you've been an entrepreneur for a while too. I think your first entrepreneurial endeavor was a little bit of lawn mowing.
Yeah. Yes. So me, and so one summer I asked my mom if I could buy something. She said no. Yeah. And I was like, oh dang, what am I gonna do? Right. And so we had a lawnmower in there, mm-hmm. and then I was cutting our grass, and someone asked, can I cut their grass? The next door neighbor, I was like, oh yeah. And I said the most money I could think at the time was $20.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, okay, let me do it for $20. And then after that, I started realizing that like other people in the neighborhood wanted to, cut yards and stuff like that and want to make money. And even though we spend it all at 7-Eleven, but we want to do stuff and buy stuff. So then I started getting neighborhood kids, and then we start just basically cutting yards all over the neighborhood, riding my go-kart in like a wagon, and then putting it in the back and just driving. It's pretty good on that.
That's awesome. I think you were telling me earlier you built a website for it too.
Yeah. So that's the first thing I did. I took I learned stuff I learned from a Homestead, and I built just a small forms on there. So just basically so they can put information in. And then I would leave these door hangers on every single door. So if I would knock on the door, ask them if we could do some stuff with them. And then I would leave the door hangers over with the website on there. The website was terrible. More than 2 people got onto it. It would crash. Yeah. But it'll help me get a lot of different people. And then that's when I started getting into basically, I was trying to do SEO.
Oh,
but
really?
when I did it at the beginning, it didn't work. Oh. And so, because it didn't work. It takes longer. Mm-hmm. But then I was like, I need to find a different way. And then I seen, they have ads, 10 cents a click. I might be able to do this.
Oh,
they were cheap then.
10 cents?
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, it was cheap.
Geez,
this is
like deal.
It's like 2000 and on 7, 8. It was early.
Oh yeah,
some days in that part.
Damn, you're working a lot smarter than me. So I had my little lawn care company as one of my first entrepreneurial endeavors when I was growing up as a kid. And I remember I just basically used a couple dozen ink cartridges for my dad and just printed out, hundreds of flyers to put all the info on it, and went door to door kind of asking him, hey, you need someone to mow your lawn? Here we go. Yeah. It's like you get a couple hits from that, but yeah, I wasn't even.
Yeah, but if you do that enough, I just knock on the doors and stuff. Worked that really well. I one thing at first, I did some shady stuff at first.
Oh, yeah.
I would be like, I'm saving this up so we can go to school.
Oh, yeah.
And then, people want, I don't know if people believe me or not,
Oh, yeah.
but, we used to do stuff like that. Then like my cousins came to stay. And so I was like, oh, well, y'all going to go work too.
Yeah.
And so, we would run out there. I really think the door hangers and then the ads work perfectly. If I knew
absolutely.
how much they actually worked and actually understood it, I still would have a lawn care company right now.
Right.
But, school started and we just did people's job on the weekend.
Oh yeah.
On there.
It's one of those funny things where it's like you never know where life is going to take you, and there's so many variables that go into even building out something that seems as simple as lawn care. It's like, no, you got to take into all the costs you don't think about. It's like, not just the gasoline for the mower, but you also have the oil, the maintenance. Then, how do you grow the business and how do you get new clients, which is, one of the hardest things.
Yeah, I know my granddad told me because he let me use like 2 of his lawnmowers, and he told me I need to start paying him rent for him to lease them. Which I guess is my first time knowing about the rental industry.
Yeah.
He never charged me, but he said it, and I used to always think about it too.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, I need to raise my prices up, or it's not gonna be able to work. I can't pay him $20 a day for this if I don't cut this many yards and stuff. So that was interesting.
It gets the mind thinking, right?
Yeah.
And then I think your next entrepreneurial, that was the cell phone company?
Yes, yeah. So my brother does it now, like makes lots of money, way more than I ever made. So when I got into college, I need to, I was trying to do something entrepreneurial on that part.
Oh, yeah.
And most of the way I had success was more practical, physical items, stuff like that. So I went to buy a phone. So I want to buy an iPhone because I just had one and mine's broke. I think it was like the 5 or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I put posters up around UNT's campus and said, you want to sell your iPhone, and you have a little tab, you can pull it, and you can call me that. And I built a little small website where they can put what iPhone they in, and it'll tell them how much we'll pay for it.
Oh, it's awesome.
And then so that's kind of like I started right there, and then I was like, well, I need to I need to try to make some more money from this right here. So I didn't have any money to actually like buy the phones.
Yeah.
So I had a friend, I knew he came from a pretty well off family and so like he had some cash and stuff. So he would front me the money, and then I would take that money and then flip it to get more money. And then we ended up working out a deal where he'll basically, anytime I need any phones, I basically would do some type of loan agreement with him. Like he'll get a portion of each deal on there. And so like, that's kind of where like, I was like,
win-win.
Yeah, on that part. It was crazy though. Cause like you would get phones and then some of the phones wouldn't like, they'll be like iPhones, but like they're outside, but the inside is like an Android.
What?
And then like, people would tell you all these crazy stories to get more money. They were like, this was my granddad's phone. He died and stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, this phone just came out yesterday. So how this phone? And you have to watch out for the scammers out there.
Oh yeah.
But like it was tons because each phone we might actually make $100 to $200 off of each phone.
Oh, wow.
And if we're getting like 30 people from our little notes all over all the buildings in UNT calling every week, and we'll meet them up. Very sketchy. We did it kind of like it was like drug deals. Yeah. But
so like you didn't have like a brick and mortar, like a suite, the campus or a building. You just kind of meet up face to face.
Yeah, we met face to face, and then we took those phones and we sold them to a person in Harry Hines.
Really?
Yeah, down in Harry Hines. It was this shop, and they basically fix phones and stuff like that.
A little repair. Yeah.
Yeah. So he would buy them from us, which I didn't understand at the time that if we probably could sell them for more. Yeah. But it was just because then if you get 10 phones, you got $2,000. So it was an easy way to go through it.
Absolutely. Then you don't have to worry about all the complexities of fixing those things because they're not engineered or put together with the intention of being fixed. They're glued. That's a whole industry in and of itself too.
Yeah, because we used to fix the screen sometimes.
Oh really?
And in the 5s, like you said, they're like terrible. Because like now you just chip them off and you go and you replace the whole screen. You have to pull it off, pull the battery off of it. You have to go through and make sure you seal it. And then there's like a whole bunch of seals on the bottom of the phones that if it gets broken, you can't take it back in. We will open the phone sometimes and you'll realize there's like these red marks, and the red marks in the phone has water damage, and like oh geez. And then you have to decide on if you're gonna do the right thing and tell people or not. We had to do the right thing because I didn't want anybody to sell me another phone like that.
Oh yeah, of course.
But like we did fix them. We fixed like probably like at least 100 of them, I would say.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but like when you fix the phones, you don't make as much money. I didn't realize that at the time. So like we would fix a phone and you're gonna make like $50.
Oh really?
Just because after the phone prices, getting the stuff in there, and then like
the components, the labor, then you might even have to offer a warranty or something like that. So if it does break, then you have to eat the whole cost.
Yeah, that was bad, especially when like someone who buys a lot from us, and like it was my other friend named Nick.
No way.
Nick's perhaps to be out there, but so like we would fix them, and then like you said, we were giving them people. Then if they didn't work and stuff, so people want their money back, and like especially when you have somebody who might buy 5 phones from you, a month or something like that. Yeah, I don't know what they were doing with those 5 phones. They probably were doing what the other person doing, so reselling them, taking our low prices and reselling them. Yeah, but we was like, oh well, we're gonna have to give you another phone or eat the cost or something like that. Yeah. But we're young, we've already spent the money and stuff, so we gotta sell another creative phone to pay it.
Yeah, gotta move money around, make it work.
We made it work on that part. It's actually pretty good. I actually liked it. Now my brother does it, and really? He might makes like some weeks he makes like $20,000-$30,000 a month doing it. I'm like, wow, crazy. Because I would spread over like 2 years of me kind of playing around and doing that stuff right there.
What was your favorite part of the job?
I just talking to the people. Yeah, I like talking to them, and then like actually being able to negotiate the deals down. Just with the prices, because like they'll start with like I want $400. Well, the phone's brand new is $500, so you can't like that. And then we would want to get it for $100 because that's technically the now I know the low street value of it. So negotiating, working our way through there, telling people you're gonna walk away from deals that you technically were not going to, and just playing all the games along that lines. It was kind of really interesting. And then like finding like the actual sources of where we do the other stuff, like finding the person that's going to pay us the most for each phone. So we have, because we didn't take the phones and resell them to other people. Like that's how my brother makes more money. He buys them and then fixes them and then resells them to the end user. We bought them to another company, then they resell them to the end user or sent them off across seas. We didn't know that much about the whole system at the time. But just like trying to figure out the system and getting a plan together, and just so we can make some extra money, because it's good to make a couple extra grand a month as a college student.
Absolutely.
It's crazy at that time.
College ain't cheap.
But we were on scholarship at the time, so we just banking everything.
For you then.
So the whole thing was getting banked, but like it interfered with other things.
Of course.
You got the like late night, someone be like shady, like, hey, 11 o'clock. I'm gonna meet you over here by Victory Hall. And I'm like, what the
heck is going on?
Meet me in the cut over here. Like, what do you mean? What? Like, and then you go there, and it'd be just text, so you don't know who it is. And then it'd be like some sweet young girl just sitting there, like, hey, I got my phone right here. I'm like, oh,
it's like, okay,
yeah, it's okay. But then you're like, what?
What's going? Why? Why here like, now?
I'll be the person in the hood over there.
And then where do you move on from there? Was that the software company? Was told you?
Yeah,
I might be butchering the pronunciation.
So I guess at the same time I started doing I started really getting into depth into building software. So my uncle came out with a software called Create Automate, and it's basically it's a high level programming language that to use. I think he built it on top of a U-bot, which I think uses Python on there. So he was building that. He was making money. He was making a good like $10,000-$12,000 a month from that. And so when he started doing that, that's when I told him, like, I have an idea that I think I want to do. So I was like, well, I want to build a marketing software, something that can help. Basically, my whole thing was do the marketing for you and make it. So I started off with it as a reporting dashboard. So we built this overview marketing solution dashboard, and it had it where you can like put all your emails in it. And I built an integration into like MailChimp, into like SendGrid.
Oh, nice.
And then another one was like we did like YouTube. You can put in your comments and stuff inside of it. Facebook, I built integration for that, and then like. There's like 5 or 6 other different platforms on there, and then like Google Ads, Bing Ads, so you can manage all of them at the same time. You can make a campaign for one ad and to go across Facebook ads, Bing, and everything like that.
Really, automatically?
Yeah,
that's invaluable because that's a lot of time.
Yeah, they have it now. It's a lot of time. I think like Ad Espresso does it. All this place. My software is not like theirs at all. It was terrible. Like I said, I think I told you earlier, like you'd be on it and then you'd be like, okay, I want to increase the budget by $50, and it'd be like $5,000. It was like small bugs in it because like I wasn't really organized enough to get my naming situation down for my inputs. Right. So like I would be calling this input even though it needs to be a different one. Yeah. Because I was just trying to make stuff happen real fast.
Well, you're learning, yeah.
Yeah, and the reason why I even started that because my aunt kind of got on me and she was like if you can't start a software company if you don't know how to build software. In my head, I was like, yes, I can, because if I can sell it, then you would just build it and not have nothing to worry about it. But it didn't work out that way.
Yeah.
On there.
She was like, I didn't sign up to be a business partner yet. Where's the paperwork?
She did not sign up as a business partner. I've been trying to convince her, and still haven't signed up on there. Yeah, and then we went into, and then that's when I did that, and then a couple people kind of took notice of it, not of the actual software, but that I was trying to build stuff in the industry, and that's kind of when I went into Toja, and it was a lady, her name is Susan. She has a marketing firm. It's just all social media, and she's growing people's Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook accounts. And so they want to create a tool that they can use internally that they're going to eventually sprint out to us. And so it's just a reporting dashboard, and then a content scheduler. So this is, earlier when content scheduling was big, when Hootsuites were blowing up and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And so, so basically from there, I went in there, simpler design. I built out the cleanest design I ever used. We went through all the processes, got all the things in place where you can get everything to schedule. It shows up. We did the reporting exactly as you wanted to. I figured out how to make certain matrices that they didn't have available, how to make those and stuff like that. And then, it worked out really well, look scale. But then, we got to the point where, they're like, oh, it's like finicky things on there.
What kind of things?
So the colors might have been off on this one spot.
Yeah. The
spacing and, all this, the details for the most part.
Yeah.
And so I had to go through and fix all those things. And then the company was taking all its profits from doing all the management and then putting it in for me to do this. And, I was getting paid a lot, but I would get a chance to build stuff, and then they were pitching it to investors and stuff like that. So, I was thinking, okay, this might be my break. Maybe.
Yeah, it's your opportunity.
Yeah, my opportunity right here. And I built the whole thing in Python using the Django, and I was, which is, during the framework on there. So for Python, so I was like, okay, well, I'm learning this right here, and I'm like, I'm going to be in this industry. I'm going to be a programmer. And I thought that's what I thought at the time.
Yeah.
And then Sally knows probably wasn't my best thing on that part, but I thought the work was pretty good. I thought we put the system together. It looks really nice. I have photos somewhere. I need to send them to you.
Yeah, you definitely got to pull them up.
Yeah. And then so Susan went through. She tried to pitch it. I don't think it worked the way they want to, because they want to spend money on the part of the company. I believe that was the most, making the most money, which was the actual management portion.
Like humans, human consulting management, where you're having people go out and tell them, hey, this is what you should do, and that kind of.
Yeah, so they wanted to spend money on that, and the whole point of the system eventually was to get to that point. But we were just at a dashboard you can schedule your posts and you can see the reports and stuff. Yeah, and the reports were detailed, but not like detail of stuff you might see now on there. And so that's kind of how we work from there. And I really honed my craft of how actually how to build stuff and release it. Because we used to do builds every week and then release them
every week.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
Yeah. So it'd be like I would think I would be finished, and then every week would be new changes. It was I don't know, be new changes. Like, okay, we need to do this. The investors said they're not going to invest until they do this, and that happened for a long time. And that's when I kind of learned that people who are going to put money in going to put money in, and if you need to have this specific feature for someone to invest, they're probably never going to invest into you.
Yeah, that's the tricky thing with startups, and unfortunately, a lot of entrepreneurs learn that the hard way. It's like the investors will be like, oh yeah, if you just make these 1 or 2 changes, then we'll invest. Well, a lot of people don't realize every change, no matter what product or software, every change costs money, and you're self-investing at that point still. It's like, well, you're like a lot of small businesses, gambling on yourself. And that's gotta be so frustrating. It's like, oh yeah, we made all these changes. And investors are like, well, now we need more changes or different changes. It's like, it makes sense to a certain extent, of course, but it's like, what's their real intent? Are they serious? And are they a serious prospective investor?
Yeah, I thought you were completely right. I wish I knew about the time. Yeah. I understand. I don't think she knew too. From what last time I checked, I know that her the business is doing pretty well. So for her on that part, I don't think they put out the software exactly how they wanted to. Yeah. But social media blew up, all this money got pushed into it, and I think we ended up scrapping that part of the project. And then they went, she went on to do her more stuff, and that's kind of when I went into, because technically between that right there, I was doing that at the same time when I was at Daybreak, which was my first kind of big, I would say real job that was not that was actually in the industry, and not just me testing stuff online and actually getting to use it. So I was kind of doing that in between, and I was just want to be part of the startup world, because I read TechCrunch and all those other places. I see
it's exciting.
like Y Combinator. I'm like, I'm trying to like figure out how can I find myself into this. I don't have the same background as a lot of other people out there. So I'm like, how can I figure myself out to work in this? And I'm trying to find people. It's kind of hard because most people are not actually like building a whole bunch of things, and the people who are building stuff are building, so that's why you don't see them.
Yeah, that's true.
So it was. I like the experience that I had. I think there was obviously challenges along the way, learning how to manage a team because it was me at that time with one other person. And it was like, and it was kind of difficult because I still had my complex issue, which I just recently got finished with, maybe a couple of years ago, where I would try to do everything. I want to be the Superman.
Yep.
I want to finish the project, and we're working with someone else. You can't do that when both of you guys are working in the the code base.
That's one of the hardest things for leaders and entrepreneurs to learn. Because I mean, if you build a company, as you know, it's your baby. You want to have as much control. You want to make me. That's the hardest thing I had to learn when I started my company. I'm in many ways a perfectionist, and eventually I learned like, okay, I gotta let my team just let them do it. They have a lot more experience than me, and the best results are always when you let the smart people do the smart things. So I just tell them, hey, here's the goal. Get there however you want.
Do you let me ask you a question. So
shoot.
Do you are you hiring more generalists now or more specialists right now? Which way are you kind of leaning
In
towards?
terms of our IT resources?
Yeah.
A lot of specialists. Our security team is growing the most in terms of the things our clients are demanding from us. We got a couple there in the infrastructure, like traditional IT infrastructure, like storage, servers, and networking. And it really is security services and services that are growing the most because a lot of our clients are having that issue where they're having budgets cut, they're having people leave, and they still have to meet all these different goals. Their management wants them to hit all these marks, but they have less internal resources. So it's how do we provide the most value and provide them the most flexibility? Take the things off of their plate that they don't want to focus on. And a lot of folks, especially, are just stretched thin for IT security, especially in DFW.
Yeah.
I know some of our clients who have had job requisition openings for over a year trying to find like a security analyst. And even if they make an offer, like there's one client we had, there's a manufacturing company, and they put off, an offer because they had a good interview. And within 2 days, that person had 3 other offers for 20 to 50 grand more a piece. Like,
oh my gosh,
it's such a shortage in the industry, both locally and in the U.S. So we're trying to see how can we supplement this with technology as well as our team. Be like, you don't have to do all security on your own. We can assist. What parts are you comfortable with having assistance with? So that's why when I founded the company, we started with the philosophy of networking and security because I knew no matter how many things go to the cloud, you'll always have to connect it to the cloud and connect it to the cloud securely. So that's where we invested most of our resources when we started the business in 2017. And we've got a couple more on the infrastructure side, and we're even starting to do a little bit of desktop, laptops for our clients. But those are usually coming from current client demands and asking us to provide more for them, which is a privilege to provide more value to our current clients. In terms of when we're going out and looking for resources, it is still about growing our security practice. So a very long answer to a short question. I'm sorry.
But it's in front, because that's kind of where I'm at, and I've been thinking about we basically hired a lot of people who are generalists, good at a lot of things, and that's been working out. But like I think now time to get really specialized on things, and I see how you doing anything like that. I think that might be a way that we need to start focused on it because, like you said, how do you let people go and and not really where you're in a position where you're always doing all the work on that part. Exactly. And over the last 2 years, I've been drawn back. I don't make any the deliveries jumping forward. I'm sorry, I don't have
all good.
Yeah, I don't make any deliveries. I don't do any of the answer the phone calls. I'm not even on the second line. What the managements are. Yeah. It's more this is the direction we're going on there, and just hiring the right people. And that's everything I think about it all day. Am I going to hire somebody for the specific task? We're going to focus on doing that. Or we're gonna hire another generalist who can do everything, and then because when you hire a generalist, you kind of if the stuff don't work out, you can move them over here, move them over there, but you never get deep into it. And I can tell you've gotten deep into the process where people know more than you do. Oh,
they all know more than me. So one of my mentors is, and it's a popular saying, is you always surround yourself with people smarter than you. So I like to know. I tell people I know a fair amount about business and marketing, and I read a lot of books, and that's what my degree is in. But when it comes to the technical proficiencies, I know concepts, but I always hire people who are infinitely smarter than me because I know they're going to do the best that they can for the clients. And it is something I always debate with. Depending on the flow of the company and the economy and the trends of the industry, would it be better to have a generalist or a specialist? So we have a couple generalists, but overall, it's mainly folks that have specific skill sets. But it is all about good people. If the person has a positive attitude and good work ethic, and they're willing to learn, I'm willing to take a risk on them because I know they're going to give their all. And even if I think that's a lot of when people grow the most is when you give them the opportunity where, hey, here's another project. You might have only worked on this once or twice, but we'll have a mentor or, your manager overseeing you. So they're going to let you do it. And if they see something, they're going to, make sure they step in appropriately so the client is comfortable and you get the best results. But it also gives that person an invaluable opportunity to learn, grow, and develop. And that's, I think, the key to retaining talent in such a competitive industry with the labor shortage in the U.S. is giving people the opportunity to grow and then rewarding them when they do perform well and they do grow. So it is interesting. We have a couple generalists who can do a couple things great, but with the type of clients that we have and the type of trends we're seeing, I think right now the specialist trend is continuing to grow.
Because I think in both businesses eventually you work towards that. I'm pretty sure you start off with some generalists, so you can work on different things. Then you went like, we gonna do specifically this.
Oh yeah,
going forward.
Yeah, like when we started, we had one or two folks that were kind of more generalists, so they had a more diverse experience in the data center where they did a little bit of storage, a little bit of networking, a little bit. But most of the team roster were people who had a lot of security expertise and a lot of networking expertise, so that we can kind of drive home those 2 points where we're meeting with prospective clients, be like, we do have you got the bench, we have the team that can do all of your IT if that's what you want, but here's the 2 areas where we really succeed, and it's because of this talent, because of these folks that we can really assist your business in these areas if that's something you're looking for.
Yeah. I know now you're saying a data center. I remember the first time I ever went to data center, and
really?
like is one in Dallas. First, I didn't know it was a data center.
Yeah.
It's the mirror place. Yeah. So I go down there. I think Equinox has a building next to it now.
Oh yeah, they do.
So I remember going down there, and this is when I'm working at All Blue Solutions and stuff like that. And I'm doing all digital marketing over there, and so we go in there, we go through this cage door, and like it only opens from one side, and you only can go in, then the other person can go out, and I'm like, this is way too crazy. This is too secure. I was thinking to myself, like, first on computers, then
James Bond.
Yeah, exactly. And then I didn't realize that we go over there, we go to our like little small like 10, we have 10 racks or something like that. Yeah. Compared to it was actually a lot now I think about it, but it was 10 racks right there. But then we look to the left, I'm like, okay, like who's this over here? I'm thinking like, who's in here? Yeah. And I see like Facebook's in there. I'm like, whoa. And they have like this whole side over here. Oh yeah. And then Netflix is way at the top over there. Oh yeah. And I remember going to like, and then you're sitting there trying to fix these things, because I was in there, they told me I need to replace this server. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing at all, but no one else available, and we need to, not replace, we need to restart it. On there.
I was gonna say that's a lot of work. Re-rack it.
We need to start, and then we have them labeled, but I'm like, I don't know about this right here, because what if I mess up? What if I'm on the wrong rack? Because it's not like it says our name or the company on there. Yeah. And then I can imagine, like, I'm pretty sure you guys take care of all that stuff right there and do all that. But like, I know even like for us, I know some of the challenges that I think about from our daily kind of running the business part is like I have like this deep fear that someone's going to steal all of our data one day and we're going to get sued. Oh yeah. On there, because like, we don't process like our, we don't process our payments on stuff and everything like that. Yeah. I'm not trying to give any of my vulnerabilities away.
I was just saying.
Yeah. But like, we don't do that. But it is a deep thing, because I see the things where you hear companies over and over getting phished, or I've seen a lot now on that part. I see it's really easy to do it.
That's the scary part. The imposters and the malicious actors are only getting better and better, and they have infinitely more resources than they do today than they did yesterday. There's entire countries, we won't say which, but I mean, there's entire nation states that are focused on that. It's an economy part of their country. So they have buildings of talent, hardware, software to break into other, break in, get your data, get out, or ransomware you. Yeah. And they even have ransomware as a service. I mean, we talk about everything as a service these days. Yeah. Even the bad actors, you could just rent some, malicious code, or you rent some ransomware. Like, oh yeah, go after them. It's like, oh geez.
I've seen that somewhere. It's like you tell them you pay the upfront fee, and then you get a portion of what they get back, and then they get the rest of it.
It's investing. It's
that's crazy.
Sure, it's like not legal investing, but not recommended. Not a financial podcast too.
Yeah, that's crazy right there. Because that's just a fear I had right there. And then because I've seen like when I was at All Blue Solution, we would have somebody. It was never nothing complex like they have in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
It was not some guy breaking through your firewall, all this stuff right here. It was always something small like Nancy, who's in HR messages, so and so in payroll, and says, hey, or account, or just an account receivables, and they'd be like, hey, we need you to pay this invoice.
Yep.
And then what's her name over here doesn't message back at all, so it'd be like and then they'll do that, and then next thing you know, they'll send the money to this wire to this address,
and it's gone.
And it's gone.
Once it's wired, you're never getting it back.
Then I see that happen right there because I remember when we were at All Blue Solution, that was a big part. Like that has happened so much.
So what was All Blue Solutions?
So All Blue Solution is a IBM basically reseller who offers managed services on top of it. And basically the whole company works. We aligned to work with IBM on a lot of the partners on there to sell just to a lot of the bigger clients, is people who didn't want to manage their own stuff internally, which, as you know, most people shouldn't manage their own stuff. And especially when I've seen going forward on there, like people have weak passwords and people never change their passwords, all that stuff right there.
Admin.
Yeah, exactly. The admin 1, 2, 3.
Yep, exactly.
You're getting so many accounts for that. So like, they would do that, and they offer like, obviously they sold all the products that anybody wanted from the IBM suite, which is way too much software on there. And then they went more, then they kind of specialized a little bit into the security side, but only for IBM products on there. So I'm losing some of the names of them right now, but it was a lot of like end-to-end stuff. And then they have like obviously like a lot of some cloud security, all that stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
On there, and then most of it is setting up things for users, end-to-end management. I think it's like a multi-device. I've got the word.
No worries. There's so many acronyms in the industry.
Yeah,
it's
so
impossible to keep track of. And there'll be more acronyms tomorrow. Don't worry.
Yeah. But everybody's to put cloud security on everything. It was back there, like cloud this security, and then just throw cloud onto anything that you can possibly think about. So my main job was to get the leads in so we can get people in there. So we had a simple system. We had probably 30 landing pages for each individual products on there. Yeah.
That's a lot.
And then for each any service, and then it'd be like specifically if someone wanted to someone wanted to do like management for the end users on that part right there. I'm losing the name of exactly the thing right now, but on that one, if someone wanted to they wanted to actually do security across, so they didn't get DDoS attacks and stuff like that. Yep. We had a service for that, and like every single individual thing that someone might think is going to happen or will happen, because most times it's just a matter of time.
Exactly.
On things.
That's true.
And then and so my job was to bring everybody to there, and I had to learn a lot about the software, how we do certain things, the naming of it, how IBM has softwares that do the same thing exactly, and when to sell which one, which doesn't make any sense when they do the exact same thing, because you want to sell the one that you get the most profit from on there, and then just working through that right there. And it was a pretty good reseller. I think we were like one of the first to do managed services, as they tell me on there.
Oh, cool.
And the time, and built a lot of stuff. I got a lot of leads in.
I think you were telling me earlier you built their SEO, their website, did a little SEO as well.
Yeah. So we did the
e-commerce.
We did the website. Spent a lot of time on ads. And then we set up SEO and stuff so we can rank. So basically, we made a website. It has every single part on there. I think it's still up. If you search for it, you can actually buy. It's the only place you can actually buy the software right then and there. It doesn't get downloaded or installed, but you'll get a link and they'll reach out to you. But you can actually pay for any software you have on it right then and there. Even if you want to buy something that's worth $10 million, if your cart will go through, you can buy it on there.
A lot of airline points or miles or
exactly. Yeah. So that was like kind of interesting stuff right there, which kind of I learned a little bit now. Like not people bought the bigger things, but people like seeing the prices right then and there.
Convenience.
Most places you can't see pricing, which I understand because you don't know how people's situation is. It's kind of hard to get pricing. But when it comes to software, it's good to be able to put in how many licenses you want and see a relative thing. And that kind of helped us sell a lot more and gave us leads. So people would they want more information about this product and we'll get on there. We actually did have quite a bit of sales come straight through, but it was more on the smaller side. And usually they would come in the back end, we would upsell them into something that they actually need. Because most people underestimate what they actually need to do.
Oh, yeah.
I've noticed that. I thought for the most time people know, but And I realized, no, if they knew, they would know better.
You don't know what you don't know. That's a big part of life, is helping people learn and kind of saying, well, what's your situation? This solution might not be sized appropriately. What about this other solution to reach those business needs? And what was the biggest sale you had on the website?
So we sold on the website. I don't remember the biggest sale on the website because I didn't get like commissions for that stuff like that. So the only thing I remember the stuff I did get commissions for. We sold we didn't sell straight to the website, but we got the lead in from Marriott. They came in front of the hats in that part. They bought like, I don't remember exactly how many Tisa boxes, but it was like 4 or 5 or whatever. In that part, each box is like, I don't know, like $10 million at the time. Wow. It was crazy.
What is it for folks in not in IT?
So I actually don't remember what the box was, but from what it's like from what I remember, because this has been a little bit on this part right here. I don't know why I just went blank right there, but it's kind of similar to how the IBM mainframes are, but it's just a newer version of that you run. Something like that on that part. I don't remember every single thing, but it's just a big server basically. And you can run different things on there. It depends on how you do it, but it's done certain ways on there, but on that part. But whatever,
that's so incredible.
Yeah,
one of the largest hotel management companies on the planet went to the website thanks to you.
Yeah,
and they got that.
Yeah, so they got it, and I worked them through the deals. I even used to call them the leads at first just to qualify them, because so I can go through and they were interested in everything like that. And then so basically the deal is on that part is that like how, if you don't know managed services, but how we used to do it is that we would buy the software and we buy the hardware on there, and we were hosted and everything inside the data center for them, and then we would run everything to keep it in maintenance, make sure they're using it properly, upload everything, keep it updated, all that stuff. So that was the whole thing. So they were spending currently, I think they're spending like $80 to $70 million every year, kind of doing this on their own. Mm-hmm. And so our service priced it out and everything like that. It was like $40 million. But it's $40 million a year on that part.
Win-win.
Yeah, it is a win-win. So it's perfect. But so like we put up the capital to buy all the stuff at first, but since we were buying it as a partner, as you might know, it's so much cheaper on that part, or as cheap as it can be.
It depends on the SKU and the manufacturer.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you get it might be a 1% difference. I mean, just kind of depends.
Yeah, because hardware is hard to do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they don't really break down hardware costs on there, but the software stuff we got a deal on that, so we got to run in and stuff like that, and also too we got better licenses. But the thing is though, the amount of boxes they rent, because they were, instead of buying the actual like the number of boxes that they were trying to get at first, because they just want to just replace the stuff they had and redo it. Yeah. They weren't trying to do a managed service at first. Mm-hmm. We ended up convincing them into going that way because it'd be a better solution for them, and it was a way for us to work with them and compete with no one else was really competing on that part, because no one was willing to put up the $30 million you need to buy the stuff.
That's a big risk.
Yeah,
that's a big investment.
And then run from there.
Yeah.
And then, but basically what we would do is that we would do that, but since we didn't actually sell the actual the Tisa boxes, the use, we did it by like a usage. Yeah. So the next person will come up, we will have some more space that we can actually use on there. We can use some more servers on there. Mm-hmm. And so now we would spin that up, and we would just keep having more and more. So we can use the one-time investment. We can make money from, because Marriott wasn't using all the stuff they thought they were going to use, especially when the engineers went in there, optimized the situation, and then took a lot of stuff they didn't need off of it. Like, because I'm pretty sure it's so much like shelfware where people just buy software and never use it, and then they had all the software that they might have installed on it and project they were planning on using, and they had other dedicated space for it, but they didn't, they didn't use any of it. Yeah. So they took all that away, and we were able to get the most efficient way for them to use it. And then we were able still to sell the other parts, and it's already paid for by them. And plus we get the profit and stuff around it.
It's win-win.
Yeah, it is win-win. It was win-win. It's win-win for them. For me, I was like, because then the boss at the time, he went to go buy a plane, and I was like, oh man. And then I don't know what I was thinking or hoping at the time. But I wanted, obviously I wanted some more to flow down my way, but technically I wasn't the actual salesperson, and it doesn't work that way on that way. But so I was like, I might have to go after this,
right? Yeah. It's like, I don't know. I'm one of those people where it's like, I understand. I guess he wants maybe, I don't know. In my mind, the only opinion to buy a private plane was like when Mark Cuban had his justification for the reason he bought his, because it buys you time. Because if you have a global business or you're going around everywhere and you don't want to wait in line at the airports and you can expedite the whole process, sure, it makes sense. But just buying it for the sake of buying it, I'm like, why?
Well, he did make a good case that he's buying it because he's always in the airport. He's literally gone. here and there all throughout the week in his whole part.
That
but
makes more sense.
maybe the difference was that he didn't buy like a jet on that part. He bought like a
Propeller?
it's a propeller one. It was
okay.
it was on, I think like I'm saying only, but it was like 1.2 or something like that at the time.
For planes, I was gonna say for a lot of people would be like only. It's like planes are 20, 30, 50. I mean,
yeah, they get up high. on there.
Yeah.
And so this is the first one he bought. He was buying it because he wanted to learn how to fly and stuff like that. So it was like a recreation, but his goal was to eventually, because I think it was like 4 or 6 seats. I think it was 6 on there on the one he had. And so he can pay for it on the fly. He can work. He can move back and back. He don't have to go through the airports. And flying on the plane a couple times and understanding kind of the process of it, because we get to use it sometime.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And so then I was like, I understood why he got it.
Yeah.
Because like when you land and you get straight off the airport and you go straight to a car, it's like a whole different world on that part, and not waiting around dealing with everybody on that part. I don't know if it's worth it, exactly dollar wise, but it is the experience for certain people. I would think it's worth it.
I mean, how much is your time worth per hour? I mean, especially, I don't know, depending on what airport, you have to get there 1-2 hours early, deal with the hassle of all the luggage, all the logistics, and yet, it's a lot of time. So it's really, after a certain amount of sense, it makes perfect fiscal sense for some businesses.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it makes sense for him at the time. I see it now. At first, I didn't know if it did at first, but now looking back and seeing just what the clients were paying for him to go there and make the deal and stuff like that, because he would get paid to go out there to make a deal, which is on a whole new level right there. So I think it might have been worth it for him on that part. I want to buy a plane one day.
Oh, absolutely. I think Mark Cuban still has the record in the Guinness World Book for the largest online transaction. I believe what was his golf wing? Was it golf? He had a jet. It's like $40 million. Just bought it off eBay. It's like, wow,
that's crazy. Did he just run like a card on it, or was it ACH deposit? How did he do that?
Actually, I'm not sure if it was just a wire transfer on eBay, because you have to have a pretty big limit to swipe that card.
Yeah. I hope they don't have his card information.
Right?
That's on that way on there. But that's kind of how I got introduced more into like actually like I like selling the products and stuff. Before I was always around them, and I was kind of understanding from how we might use them internally inside a company, but actually selling these externally and being able to package things to people to in certain ways to create value, while also to limiting your costs on what you're trying to sell. So I learned a lot during when I was at All Blue Solution on there.
And what was it like starting your first media company too?
Yeah, so it was as an accident at first.
Oh, really?
So, because now when I think about it, right, I have a friend. His name Tony. He's a big film guy. He's always been teaching me how to do certain things like that. He's making movies and all this stuff like this right here. And so he was like, "Well, you need to start getting film. You need to start getting in front of the camera and stuff, because you are, you're pretty, you know a lot and stuff like that." He would say, and I was like, "I'm not getting in front of the camera, but instead of doing that, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna start doing weddings, because I get paid for it, because I don't even want to do stuff that had money to do with it." Yeah. And then I got kind of contracted to do like one sports thing, and I was like, I love this. Yeah. And I brought back my love for football, because it went away after basically I had a situation at North Texas and stuff like that where like I got my scholarship taken away on there. I actually got signed away on that part. Oh, I guess I'm gonna take it away if you signed it away. I didn't know that I was signing for it. Yeah. I was told it was for books. And like I told you, 3 pages. Everybody had 2. I didn't know that. Oh, jeez. I didn't read contracts at the time either.
And they stacked them too, right? It's like here's the main contract, then they have one thing, then they have the other thing. So you got 3 things over layered, so you're only seeing a 1/4 inch of the page where your signature goes. Yeah. And they're like, "Oh yeah, just sign this." Like, well, okay, I trust you. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, because the coaches are you see them as father figures. They bring in. I'm going straight from there from high school, so I automatically thought obviously they have my best interest at heart. Oh yeah, there's not no money getting exchanged for none of this stuff. Yeah, like you don't make money in college. They do.
I should have understood it then, and that's when I learned that you got to read contracts. If you don't read contracts, that's how you get burned. Read every contract on there.
Agree. Of all the things I need to start teaching in public schools or any schools, read the fine print, know what you're signing, because once you sign it, you'll never win the court. Like, you're acknowledging that you read the whole thing. That's a key. That's a painful life lesson a lot of people learn.
Yeah. And so that's kind of like, so I went from there, and I was like, so I was done with football. I didn't want to hear no sports. I didn't watch nothing. Yeah. I don't want to even see a football. I was out there. The person who was throwing football, I would go the opposite way. And then I was like, okay, well, let me try this gig. It's like, let me like $600 to go out there for like a couple hours and film.
Awesome.
So I went out and filmed. Like, I really like this. And I was like I always wanted, when I was younger, I wanted to have a. I always thought it was cool if they would film every single game. Like every game would be filmed for the most part. Like that local news would do, instead of going to small certain games, they'll try to go to everyone. Yeah. So you can see like kind of like the same thing experience we have with like the NFL or college. You like everybody can have that experience going through high school.
That'd be awesome.
So yeah, and so that's what I thought I was going to do in Dallas-Fort Worth. I didn't know that there was I think it's like 300 something schools here that play football. So obviously that was going to work out on there. But I just started learning a lot of stuff because most times I never really was too big on social media at the time. Besides like Facebook ads and really ads. This is my first time really like testing stuff out and trying to do from an organic standpoint. And I remember like the first year we did it, I had like 2,000 followers across everywhere. I know I was like, oh, it's not too much, but at least we're making a name. People are commenting, going through our posts and stuff. And then I started to figure out there's tactics, same thing there are like in ads and stuff as they are here. Yeah. So one strategy that I found out was that like there's like curation sites that post other people's content.
It's huge. Yeah. It's a whole economy people don't realize exists out there. Yeah, it's
huge. All they post, and I realized there's like certain genres on there. There's motivational ones. Yeah. There's sports related ones. You go into those like music ones, and so I was like, okay, this is crazy. Then I overheard this guy. He was talking. He was trying to sell this course about how to basically do a strategy to boost your engagement on there. And he was like $10,000. I'm like, I don't got $10,000, so I can't use it.
Yeah, geez, 10 grand? Come on.
10 grand. But in his advertisement, he gave too much information away. I don't know if he gets much. Tons of people signed up, but he gets much for me because he was saying like, we put you in front of people who are already posting other people's content. And so when I heard that, I was like, well, I think I know what he's talking about. And so I started going through and I started just messaging every single person I can find that reposted, just any content in the football space. And then they started sending me back rates. And then that's when I realized you could just post on there and then you might get like 300 followers for $20 and people who engage and love what you're doing on there. And so I started building through there and then like, and that's when I started actually understanding media, understanding like packaging it correctly so people will be able to watch it on there, especially from an entertainment standpoint. On there, which is it's way different than doing something that's like when you're doing the people who are trying to make money, but people just entertain them, like having the pictures look certain ways, what wordings they use, and it's a younger demographic, so I have to learn a lot of stuff that that they're doing, and realistically, like we built that thing from like basically like 1,000, then like the next year we got like 10,000.
Oh wow!
Then after that we got to like we're doing like 1 million like views across like everything we were posting. From like some of the stuff is like low stuff like like TikTok and we're doing like 1 million views every single month at minimum for like TikTok, Twitter, and then
Instagram,
Facebook, YouTube. YouTube was the smallest version of that just because it's a little harder on there. But we were doing stuff and we ended up doing videos like people like watching high school stuff about people in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Oh yeah,
and so. It worked out pretty well on there, and then I started really to kind of like trying to push it more. I didn't do that strategy enough now that I noticed it. Yeah. I might have did it like 3 times, but I should have been doing it every single week. Yeah. And then I'd have grew a lot faster. But what it did tell me like preparing thumbnails and putting them together, whole thing with copyright and music that like the stuff we have now where you can actually use the songs and stuff, like and everything. Like I keep thinking about bringing it back and redoing it because you can actually use music. I used to I started I don't think I even told you right here. Like I made a company specifically that makes music.
Oh really?
So that I can use the music royalty free. It's called Kelly Beats.
Brilliant. Yeah, I like it.
And so like I didn't make a lot of money from it, but it covers all the costs. People would find it because I would put it at the bottom of the
description.
Yeah, descriptions and stuff like that, and people would just sign up for it. So it might be like $800 a month or something like that, which is still pretty good because we don't do nothing. But I found the guy that was in like Ukraine or something like that, and all he did was make music all day. And so I told him like every song you make, I'll pay you $10 for.
Yeah.
And I was sending him a list of like I want the songs to sound similar to this.
Yeah.
And then so. So that's how I played around with it. Then I did that, and then a lot of the stuff on there we made music from that, and then then I crossed that over with another company like with Epidemic Sounds, and I put other stuff into it. So because I needed more vocal stuff.
Yeah.
Because I seen the vocal stuff did better than just the beats.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so so that's how I went from there. We ended up building that up to like the time like right before COVID stopped. That's kind of when I stopped. Right when COVID hit. We had like I think it was like 15 on Instagram followers. We had about like 25 on YouTube, and we had about almost like 40 or 50 or something like that on TikTok. That platform grew a lot faster than on Twitter. It was like maybe like 3 or 4, and then but it was really good. We we get really connected with the kids, and I was able to get stuff seen by a lot of people, and then like I just like the part where like when certain things are going to hit. Yeah. And you're like, okay, this is going to be good. People, they're going to love this. Yeah. And then you see it, then you get 100,000 views. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
That's incredible.
Yeah. On there. But that was kind of my experience in that party there. We ended up shutting down because of COVID. And it was that like I started that and we ran it for like 3 to 4 years. And then like at the tail end of that, I was like, okay, well, I need to make some more money because I'm doing consulting at the time. And I was doing it for a company called Lone Star Ag. And we were doing like, basically, they sell like loans on land and agricultural properties and stuff. So we were doing that, and I was working on that. I was like, I need some more money. So I was like, well, that's when I kind of got into the rental side. Because then, I was already looking at, me and my wife were getting married. I called up, tried to see a little bit, if I can do this. I spent the money at first, didn't work out the way I wanted to. Then, I didn't say it didn't work out. I didn't do anything, to be honest.
So what is Kelly's Rentals, and what was that story that inspired it?
Yeah. So what inspired Kelly Rentals is that I want to get married. I ended up getting let go from a position that I was at before then. So I didn't have the money to get married on that part with my wife at the time now. And then so I called around, and I'm like calling like, okay, I need a tent. I need this right here. I can't have it in a venue. It's going to cost so much. And then they told me the price of some of this stuff. And then me being the skeptic went through and just look up how much this stuff costs. And I'm like, oh, these people are making a killing on here. Yeah. And then I buy the stuff. Basically, I pay for you to do it. And then I got to give the stuff back. And you get to redo this every single week. And I was like, this has to be an opportunity on there. Oh, yeah. That I can possibly do. And then I had so basically, I'm more of a person. I'm better on the marketing side of it. So what I did was I created a website, just a simple form on there. And I was just trying to see how much traction can I get. So I spent probably like $25 a day on Google Ads, just to see how it came in. First couple of days, I see people like, okay, I want to book this, I want to book this, I want to book this.
That's incredible. So day one, you already had sales. Yeah, that's unheard of. That's every entrepreneur's dream. Yeah, like that's awesome. Congrats.
So it seems like it's like a strategy, where it seems like it's a overnight success. But that system I've been building I use the same system. Basically, because most of the business I worked in was service-based businesses. It's the same system I've been using for the whole time, since I've started. So when I was spending $1,000 a month and making no money, and I just refined it and just, I kind of knew it was going to work because I've already worked with a business that was relatively to that, close to that. They did equipment rentals, just like, like backhoes and stuff like that. So I already knew it was going to kind of work because I've already put it together. And I knew where they might have went wrong at. And so when day one, the first day, I already knew I was going to get sales. I didn't know how many, but I knew that I was going to get some because I've already done this part already. Yeah. And I've already scaled it up and I already grew. This is already like, I already have all the blueprints for it. I just need to fix the stuff and then get the stuff and get it delivered to people, which ended up being challenging. I got it. So I do that. First week, my wife's like, you can just test it, whatever. And then later she sees all the emails come in. Yeah, because I specifically make the email sent to her because I want her to be okay with it, so when I can go buy the stuff. Yeah, and so she's like, "Oh my God, there's a lot of people." And then I'm like, I'm gonna start booking stuff out for 2 weeks. She said, "Okay, go in and buy your stuff then." Yeah. So I buy the stuff. I spend like $20,000 and stuff. Oh wow! And then like just buying all equipment. Each chair at the time was like $1, like $10 or so. You rent it for like $1.50. Yep. Tables for like $60.
And you need a lot of chairs.
Yeah. Buy a lot of chairs, tables, all this stuff right here. And so I went to go. By buying it, but then the stuff didn't show up to the week after. We were going to show up the week after. Oh no! And so I was like, oh my gosh, they're going to refund everybody their money. And I was like, dang, I really messed this opportunity up at first. And then my wife was like, oh, well, let's just look around. Maybe someone can rent it from somebody. And so she went on Facebook, looked on there, seen a guy on there who said he's renting chairs out for that. And then he then ended up being Eddie, my partner now.
Oh, no
at
way.
the time. But like so he's at a movies. It's the only movie I ever seen him go to. Now that I know him,
Yeah.
because I moved with his daughter, and he was texting me and said, "Hey, I'm at a movie. I'll call you after." And then I tell my wife, "No, let me see the phone. I'm gonna call him." I call him and say, "Hey, I need you right now. I need to rent everything you got right now, because based on that part, because he actually put everything he had on there. No,
Oh, really?
you're not supposed to do that, but
Yeah.
but he put exactly what he had, and I needed about everything he had on there. So I called him, and then he left the movie, came and got me, and then I like brought this like trailer that I hooked to like a Mitsubishi Outlander.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, Outlander Sport, like a small one, and then
Yeah.
like it was like an 8-foot-by-5 trailer, and then I'm gonna see the photo. I have that one, and then he was like, "Oh, what the?
What's
like,
going on here?
What's going on here?" And then he gave me all his stuff, and I took all his stuff. I know at first, I'm pretty sure his wife was probably like, "Oh, they're gonna steal everything or whatever," because like I literally got everything he about had, and so I went to do that. I did all the stuff. Terrible first day.
How so? What happened?
It was like 15 deliveries on one day.
Oh my gosh! So you had to go 15 different events dropping off materials?
Yes.
Oh my
Crossed up
gosh.
just me and my wife.
15.
Yeah. Didn't know what I was doing. Scheduled it wrong. Everything. I was late to some stuff, so we had to go out and put stuff on there. And then like to make everything worse in that part, it was a terrible day. Everything was tough. I had to go do it again the next day. Pick it up, like pick the stuff back up. Some of the stuff that same day. And then like I asked one lady, I said, "Hey, can you give me a review?" And it was the one lady I was late to, and I didn't mean to ask her.
Oh no.
And she did give me a review. She was actually pretty honest. And she gave me like a, I thought it was a fair review. It was like it was a 3 on the situation. I was like, this is terrible. I got a 3 now out of reviews.
Like,
This whole thing's going down the drain. I was thinking at first. And then the next week, I thought some reason I would affect everything. Next week, same thing. Like I got a couple more 5-star reviews too that kind of balance it out. But next week, same thing, even more people. And then it just kept going over and over. And then me and Eddie would work on certain projects, like the bigger stuff when you have to do like 40 tables and like
40?
40 tables, a whole
my
bunch of
gosh.
chairs, stuff like that. Which at the time I thought was big, but we do tons of those stuff now, like
Oh,
all
really?
the time.
Now it's
But,
standard.
yeah, it's a standard now. But at the time it was like, oh my gosh, dang it was crazy.
Yeah.
And then I bought a trailer, bought a truck. And then me and Eddie partnered together. We were partnering on a dishware company where we're just renting out dishes,
Really?
and then plates and silverware, all that stuff like that. And you'd be amazed, like you can rent each thing on there for like, you might buy it for like $2, but you might be able to rent it for like the exact same $52.
Yeah.
Because those things come with added service because you have to clean everything, stuff like that.
Clean package,
Yeah.
keep track of.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
But when you have 300 people, you have the plate, you have each spoon, fork, knife, all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You have a salad plate. You have multiple cups for everybody. You're looking at probably like $15 a head.
Wow, that adds up.
Yeah. And you think about it, and then you can pay someone to wash dishes pretty cheap on that part because as long as they wash, one set every hour, you'll be able to pay them,
Yeah, exactly.
correctly. So that's how working out. So we did that, and then eventually we ended up combining in like February of 2020, and we got into the Irving warehouse that we're at now. We're about to leave there, but right at this exact moment. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
And then what were a couple of the biggest lessons learned? I think you were telling me how outsourcing helped you guys grow a lot too.
Yeah.
Or become a lot more efficient.
Yeah. So I've been outsourcing, as you see, like from like when I was like a kid.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't do a lot of things. I'm just trying to find ways to talk to people. I go on Reddit, find stuff like that, or like even like Stack Overflow. You can find people on there that's from different countries, and you can work deals out and people who pay less. So I was using that, but like some reason, like at first I was like, we were paying someone like $18 an hour to answer phone calls. Yeah. And like we needed like 2 or 3 people. And I'm like, this is like adding up, and the person's not showing up on time. They sound pretty lazy. Like they're acting kind of lazy on the phone and stuff like that. They're like not really answering people's questions. Saying like basically saying like hurry up and buy. It's basically what they're basically almost close to that. And I'm like, I gotta find a different solution. And then like my aunt was like, well, we've been talking about doing, because she brought up a thing like, well, you did outsource. Why don't you just outsource this position? I'm like, I don't know, because most people's English is not as good. Yep. And then I remember in my head, I thought, I was just talking to someone yesterday who's from the Philippines, and I didn't even know they were from the Philippines. Oh yeah. so I was like, oh my God, so I need to go there. And I went over there. I called a couple connections that I had in India, and then they passed me into some people that were close over there that knew a couple people.
Oh, cool.
Tested some people out, and then I started using them, Upwork, and a couple other services until I got until we actually got a person who just finds them off of all these platforms.
Yeah.
And then working that out, and that helped tremendously because that really allowed us to be able to get people who were dedicated, who would stay longer, who were actually seen this as a career, and they got paid pretty well.
Yeah.
Because most people over there live lives similar to how we do. They stay in houses. Like our HR manager just built a new house, like another house that she's using at the rental property. I'm like, you're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
And like they're still getting paid from like $5 to $10 between, depending on the skill sets and stuff.
And a lot of those other countries have a lot less overhead, a lot less taxes for individuals and businesses as well. There's a lot less infrastructure taxes, like municipality taxes. So like housing, a lot of the things there are a lot more economical. So I think you're telling me you're able to go, if you don't mind me discussing like how much you were paying for that service in the U.S., then how much was it over there? Then I think you're telling me it's like four times more effective.
Yeah. So
it's astonishing.
So we're paying $18 plus the taxes, and you have the workers' comps, and then like
and liability,
all the other benefits. So basically, it ends up being like almost $21.50 something. I think. Yeah. Person over there is you don't pay taxes on them because we don't pay taxes on them. So we actually have people start off at like $425. They come in, they work harder, they work longer. They care about the job more. Every single time you give an incentive out there, they take it more because it's a bigger part of their salary. And it just is really just astonished me. Like they went to school for this. They went to vocal training.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So we have some people that you wouldn't even be able to tell the difference. At all. Like I actually think they sound better than I do. I have this like Florida really talk really fast accent thing on there, and they have like clear, precise, way above vocabulary. And a lot of times, and we don't know this right, but that's like the main language there. And and most people there are bilingual, but a lot of times you can tell some people that's their first language. And it's just a huge opportunity for a lot of different businesses if you can do it right. I know some people get kind of like stopped up on you're not paying a living wage, but like it's what's the living wage here versus what's the living wage there is two different things.
A lot of people don't realize that. It's like, what is the living wage? Well, in the U.S., I mean, depending on city versus state, I mean, some people are paying 40% income tax plus a 12% state income tax. Then you have a property tax. Then when you go to the store, you have to pay in Texas, you have to pay 8.25% sales tax. Like that adds up a lot. How much of that dollar you earn every day is really yours? Whereas
then everything's over more expensive.
Yeah, exactly. Like a house in Texas in DFW is by like $2 million now. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, they get expensive. It's like, but yeah, other countries have a lot less overhead, a lot less regulations, a lot less costs. So for them, that's huge. I mean, one of my friends used to tell me about how he used to travel overseas for vacation to like Thailand. I mean, just a couple of dollars there would be stretched so much further. The food was cheaper. I mean, and so there's a lot of factors that go into it. But that was one of my pet peeves is when people talk about, a living wage I mean, different areas have different costs, different overhead, different environment, different cultures. It's never really an apples to apples comparison. So it's hard to, I don't think it's not honest to say, oh yeah, they're getting paid less per, it's not the same comparison.
Yeah, I see people like on Twitter go crazy on it, but I think a lot of people don't understand. Like we had a couple people message us back and said they appreciate the job because like they were taking a bus into town like an hour or 2 or 3, and they were making $2 an hour. And
wow! So you double their salary.
Yeah, you double their salary, and you actually give them where they actually can move forward. They don't have to leave home. They're doing all this from the house right here. We bought monitors and stuff for everybody.
Nice.
There and stuff like that. We have headsets. They have stuff. We send a couple things out where like we have like if you get a certain amount of things, you get this.
Right, incentives are huge.
Yeah, incentives are huge over there in that part, and it was more like a team, and like I knew they were going to be here, and now we're coming up on mostly almost everybody's over a year already now.
Oh, that's awesome.
And, so like and we have a couple people that's like a year and a half and stuff like that. So it's coming up on like having like a full team in the back that's always together and stuff like that. And it kind of talked to your other point before, like we have like one person on the team. They probably don't know who this is because we have quite a people. It's like 15 people back there now. We're on the team that possibly doesn't fit the skill sets that they need to do there. But like you said, like you would rather take somebody who shows up every single day, is enthusiastic, stuff like that, and really just like build. And that's that same person right there we have right there. And I've been realizing like that's like the difference. Like it's not like people in the United States are just bad, terrible. We have some good people, but it's like you have to find somebody who wants to make this their career, and it's hard to pay that someone's career in the rental, in the rental industry when most people don't know really about it, and then no one really wakes up and says, I want to work in the rental industry on the phone, on that part. I mean, like, it just, you don't pay enough over here because we just all the costs and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And so I think that right there has really helped. Another issue that we had was we tried to use strategies from other businesses that were not proven in our industry, and I thought that I was smart enough to make it work, even though most people probably said it wasn't going to work.
Oh really?
Did the Amazon thing where like I should have warehouses everywhere.
Yeah.
And like
it makes sense though. So can you tell us a little bit about your concept or kind of your idea behind that?
Yeah. So I was thinking where there's like 4 corners in DFW, or not 4 corners. Yeah, basically like 4 areas, 4 main areas. They're like kind of like a Garland, kind of east, south side. You have like then you have like DeSoto, Duncanville, and then Fort Worth, and then Frisco kind of area.
Yeah.
And then technically I didn't too, but I was not counting them.
Yeah.
This one. So you have those 4 things. I was thinking, well, I'm going to put a warehouse in each area so we can be closer to each customer.
Yeah.
So they can come pick stuff up. Well, that part worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
But I'm going to make the system work as one system, so you don't have to go from this place to get this stuff. Just wherever you are and wherever you pick the stuff at, you can get anything from any one of these locations.
Yeah.
So you go online, you order, you order 100 chairs, and you order like some throne chairs and some tables. No matter where the stuff is, we're going to get it delivered to you, and it's only going to be priced from that one warehouse. And we'll just move the stuff between warehouses.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. So we got to 3 of those.
Yeah.
We got stuff kind of, we got a place in Irvin, we got a place in Fort Worth, we got a place in Frisco.
Yeah.
And then that's when I started realizing that like we're spending like $10,000 a month moving stuff between warehouses.
Wow. Was that on top of rent?
Yeah,
Just $10,000 in logistics and moving.
Just in logistics.
Oh my
like
gosh.
moving people around, all this right here, refunds if you don't have the stuff there.
Yeah.
And then I realized too, like it just be better especially if our main priority is to have people get stuff delivered, because that's what most people are doing.
Yeah.
So the stuff not there when the driver needs to have it there to deliver it, so they have to wait. They have to tell behind it. Customers don't like when there's stuff coming in 2 different shipments if they didn't know it was going to come in 2 different shipments.
Confuses them, complexity.
Yeah, their expectations are just thrown out of whack on there. And so it made it very logistically challenged, and no other person does it the way that we do it. And I thought at first I had a idea that it could be because it's hard to do. Yeah. And I was thinking, well, most people just not taking enough time and not smart enough. And this when I got humbled 100%.
Yeah.
And then and so like that was kind of like the general thesis. I want to do what Amazon did, but I think we need to have the warehouse need to be bigger.
Yeah.
They need to be individual inventories between each one on there, and you have to request transfers in between on there. But you need to move more than what you have, because we're selling out. So if you miss one chair, then we're like off completely. Yeah. So like we didn't have enough stuff. We didn't have the right manpower. People, because we didn't understand at the time that like you need to incentivize people to work at night. So people don't want to come in during the daytime and then come back at night. Yeah. So you need a different person. And then if you don't watch them, they take too long. And then like just because of stuff, you have to go through all these places like a triangle. Yeah. Go through. But that's kind of like the main reason, kind of like where I said we don't do that. But we're getting a new warehouse. It's in Dallas, so it's still it's very central. It's like North Dallas, kind of right near like Royal Lane, basically. Yeah. 12,000 square feet. We have like another area that's like 6,000 square feet of gated area, and then like another 4,000 in front that we can do stuff in. Yeah. And it just removes so much of the complexity that we're having, because most people I talk to in the industry don't have any of these problems that we have.
Oh, really?
And like the problems that they have, we had to fix it because we won't be able to run business if because we got to get the stuff to where it needs to be. It's like we have to make you have to make 2 deliveries for every 1 delivery. Basically, you have to deliver the stuff to the right warehouse. Yeah. And you'd be so surprised. I tried to build like a predictive algorithm that would tell you where the stuff is going to be at for the next one. Mm-hmm. And it was so difficult because even that right there, when I was playing around with it, it would say like it was never a situation where stuff was put right where you need it to be. Yeah, it's always this chair came over here. We only have 2 of these, and both of these are in Fort Worth, but they need to be going out of Frisco.
Oh, jeez.
And then like so the driver has to go there, and then you're like, oh well, we need dishes. All the dishes are in Irving, mm-hmm. And then.
It's a lot of logistics going to that.
Yeah, it was. We didn't have the capabilities to do it, or I didn't want to spend no more to do it, especially when no one else in the industry had to worry about that. Yeah, on there. So that was the issue. That was a really big issue. And then like another issue was like understanding the finances behind it. Mm-hmm. like how the money is actually supposed to be managed and run correctly. Because you would think in an apartment space, there's no reason ever to run out of money because you get prepaid for every single thing.
Yeah.
And so you should always have money for stuff.
Yeah.
But I realize a lot of people in the industry don't understand the process because we didn't understand it either. So like last year, I took time and I really figured it out to rebalance our books, get money where it needs to be at. We have now we have an unearned account. So all the new bookings going in there, we have an earned account for this is what we can spend for this week. We have because like our payroll is like a week back. So we have an account that you pay into that account for that stuff. And then it has all the fixed expenses that you would pay. Like if it's for each week, we pay like a quarter or not. I guess I was at that number, but it's basically like, I think it's like 2% of the amount that we pay for the whole year for all this stuff. That week has to pay into that portion. So you have all the fixed expenses. And I have like a detailed things. I'm writing like an ebook on this right here just because other people in the industry to learn about it. But that was like really big right there. And because like, I think that like changed the whole thing. Because we would get some weeks, if you just do it off of sales, if you do $50,000 in sales one week, but you have $100,000 in work, and our profit margins are around 40 to 50%, depending on what we're doing on there, you're looking at like, you're not gonna be able to pay to do the stuff if you only using sales. And we were getting the weeks where like, like I would have to like money's usually supposed to flow to you, but now you're sending money back the opposite way into the company, and that really like put a lot of stress on the business and made us not be able to make the right decisions across, because when you have to make decisions that's just based off of money, you usually don't make the right decisions. So getting that fixed was like huge right there.
It's interesting, especially with the warehouse thing, because it just conceptually it does sound like more warehouses the better, more geography covered. I mean, that's what a lot of the business to consumer, like direct, when you're shopping from like Amazon.com or something that I thought was somewhat reminded me of your company was like Uline, like with all the materials when I need boxes or office supplies. One of the reasons they're so successful is because they have, I don't want to say countless warehouses, but many warehouses. So they have the option for same day delivery and all that stuff. And it sends extremely quick. It always shows up on time in great shape, but they're never taking stuff back. So for them, it's always just one way of flow. Yeah. So it makes sense. Your situation is a lot more complex.
And then the box thing, like having stuff that, like I realize why everything comes in boxes now, because it's so much easier to stack it in the truck. You can run things you can put a lot of stuff in the truck. When you're doing like chairs, weird shaped objects that don't fit on there, like podiums, and you put all this stuff on a truck, it's so much wasted space you might have, because you can't put something too heavy on a throne chair, or that throne chair is going to be broken, your $1,000 is going to be gone.
Oh wow.
I realized that's why I realized the model was more placed on like having like Amazon, they bag everything, they have boxes, like everything can be easy to put in there. They're not moving a lot of bulky furniture items all the time. Yeah. And the companies that do move bulky furniture items, they are moving stuff with 18-wheelers, and they have one big distribution center. And I was trying to think from a smaller product side, but like when you're bringing in stuff and when you're dropping off an average of 500 pounds to 10,000 pounds of stuff, you can't really do that, right? Because you have to move that stuff, has to be moved, and gas and the vehicle costs. Oh yeah. And then it gets I'm not saying it's impossible. Oh yeah. I'm just trying to say like I don't think there's a good affordable way to do it underneath $10 million. Yeah. on there, just what I'm just seeing.
You would need $10 million of investment or revenue to justify it.
Just to justify it on there, because even like that, there's like stuff that gets missed on there, opportunities that gets missed because most people don't count this right here, but like when the team knows that it's hard to move stuff, it makes them less likely to want to sell stuff because they don't want to deal with the problem if the stuff's not there. Yeah, incentive. And so it makes a mental kind of bad on that part. So like we've dropped one of the warehouses, and we're just down to Frisco and once this deal closes, we'll be moving into there. We have those things worked out, so we just move straight into there, and we get a bigger space. We get to actually utilize our forklift, which
cool.
Yeah, which I don't know how people have so many of them. Things are so expensive. Yeah. But we get to utilize everything and put our racks and stuff in there and really like take hold of our business. Like, I think that's why we're gonna double this year, at least in size.
Oh, congrats!
Just because we're gonna be able to be more efficient, save money, and we're gonna be able to offer just a better service on there. And I'm turning the ads up completely, but
you're doing what?
I'm turning the ads up a lot.
Oh yeah.
But those I think the three on the most part on there: the warehouse, the finances, and then the outsourcing has really been huge for like just like specific things. I think I've done very well, and then like understanding how the business works, obviously, but that's kind of general.
And then out of curiosity, what was the other incentive? Because I remember we were chatting a little bit about how you're having issues with incentivizing drivers. And cause I know, I mean, one of the hardest things to deal with owning a small business or any business is controlling the cost, because they can quickly get out of whack and they could potentially handicap or even make the company go out of business.
Yeah. So my thought on this right here, and I heard someone say this too, and it didn't make sense at first, but like when, like if I pay you by the hour, you are incentivized to take more time. Yeah. I'm telling you that I care more about the time. How more time you spend on this, the more I care about it.
Yeah.
And then I realized that but if you're in a situation you want stuff done faster, then we need to incentivize them to do it faster, which would be if you, I don't care how much time you spend on this, but you get paid. If you spend 1 minute, you get paid $50.
Yeah.
So just lining our incentives to work properly inside the business, because I realized like a lot of businesses, a lot of people, we do that, and it kind of sucks because it's hard in certain things.
Yeah.
When there's not like a specific end goal, like where like this is worth this.
Yeah.
So for us, we had to go back through. I figured out how much actually delivery costs. Realized that we weren't charging enough. So I basically 3 times the delivery costs on there. I thought the business was gonna be over.
Yeah.
But we didn't go away. People paid it. We paid a better service, and now our drivers they get paid a portion of each deliveries. I have a system that I built out that goes through and weighs out like how far it is, how much time it's gonna take to get there, how much time does it usually take to have similar items being dropped off in the past, because we log all the data and stuff like that. So we have like an average. And then then any special services, they'll get a portion of that. So like stuff stuff that's like difficult. Like if you had to pick something up at 1 a.m., like you're not gonna want to do that. But if the customer pays us $300 and we give you 40% of that, you'll be willing to go there. Yeah, you'll be willing to go there for $120 to go there on that. But it's like stuff like that, because it incentivizes people to go do it. Technically they'll get 60, because they'll get, if it's like half and half of each drop off and delivery. Yeah. But people, so we learn how to incentivize them to do the stuff that we want them to do, because we had a big issue where no one wanted to do the late night pickups and stuff. So we just readjusted the whole system. So now we go into the week and I can tell you exactly like how much we're going to spend on labor.
Yeah.
And then we don't get out of whack, and we're on line like they know how much they're getting. We're able to try to increase it, and they're trying to do stuff to help us. And also too, I've seen it help out too, because we've seen people we've seen a lot of our drivers will start noticing things too.
Oh, really?
So like, they'll start taking more time and stuff like that, because they're like, okay, well, this person didn't take stuff down. Before they might have just done it and whatever and took the time. Yeah. But now if they'll send the photo in. I've never seen so many more photos where people haven't they haven't set it, the stuff, like have the stuff still set up and haven't tore it down. Because now we get to recapture that revenue too, because they're more aware of it. Before they have to do it anyway, it don't matter, they don't send a photo, and so they just do it and we don't get to charge for it. So it's kind of stuff like that. And I think too, it'll get better service to the customers, because the customers get their stuff faster. They understand the process. They work certain things out. They get incentivized. They get reviews and stuff, so they provide a better service completely on there. And it just, overall, they get more tips and stuff on there. So I think that's been, and then they have and then for them, the drivers, they get to go home faster. We've seen that. We were paying everybody between $16 and $18 an hour to do deliveries, and that's kind of what they was doing. But now we're doing the same amount of deliveries, but they're getting paid. Sometimes they pay $25, sometimes even $30 an hour, depending on what they do. And if they do a night pickup, it might be $60 on that stuff. So it's like, we've seen, but the only difference, and we're not paying anymore either. We're actually paying less than we used to pay. The only thing is that the person's incentivized to actually move faster in that part. And we've seen that in gas too. Our gas prices have dropped the same amount too.
Really?
Yeah. So another thing we started doing on gas, we used to have gas cars. For some reason the gas cars, every single week we spend $2,000 on gas. I'm like, that's a lot.
Yeah. So
what we did is that took away the gas card, and everybody had to pay for their own gas, but they get reimbursed right after, which is show your receipt.
Yeah.
Cut gas in half instantly.
What?
Yeah. And it's kind of fishy, right? You
you
start thinking what's going on? And we look back through the data. We couldn't find anything that was at least blatantly obvious that was stolen or something like that. But I don't know. It got cut in half. So that's interesting. I guess people don't use as much gas when they have to put up for, even when they get reimbursed for it. Because we have a system. It's the Force. It's called a Force app. You plug it into the the little receiver on all the trucks and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then it tells you the fuel and stuff like that. So like if you pay whatever fuel you pay, we should see it in the thing. We have a dispatch team that they send all the information from, and then they get confirmed, and then they'll get reimbursed by the HR team if everything checks out.
Yeah.
And so it kind of puts the extra system. So maybe people were, I don't know, maybe people were filling their own tanks up or filling someone else's tanks up or whatever, but it doesn't happen anymore.
That's good.
Yeah. So we've yet to see someone try to reimburse $200 for something when they had to pay it up front.
Yeah.
On there. And even if they got it back. So that worked out, and we kind of cleared up stuff like that. And that just start doing little things like that to increase profitability and stuff on there.
It's amazing. Sometimes the littlest things make the biggest difference, especially in aggregate. Making all those little tweaks, all of a sudden your company's that much more exceptional, and you'll be able to provide that much better service, be that much more efficient too.
Yeah. It's been crazy, and I think we got a lot more stuff we have to work on specifically, like how we pick the stuff out. We need to get it more organized with that. We have to make sure stuff is coming back. When we move to this new warehouse, we have a certain section where the drivers bring all the stuff back. They're gonna drop all the stuff off in that section so we can count it, make sure everything comes back exactly as it's supposed to. Check it, get it checked into the inventory system, and go from there. And then I have another version of the software that I haven't released yet, that I've been working on that better does the inventory a lot better, and it really works on I've been trying to combine some of basically some of the AI stuff to work on it.
Oh, really?
Because we run all our emails, all the text messages, all the stuff runs through the site, so everybody can log in, you can see it, all the stuff on there. It'd be nice. Some of the messages I think could be easily responded faster to, with just like a ChatGPT API, just going on there and just respond back to his message with and we train the model with all the data we have on stuff. So I was thinking about using that, and I've been working on it, and we're gonna release another version that allow us to respond to people faster. Cause we started doing live chat. I really want to move live chat onto where instead of using a software where I just build it into the site, but it's just other stuff. It's we use HubSpot, and it's free, and so
that's a good deal.
Yeah, but there's other stuff going on too, because now you don't have control of some of the data and all this other stuff too that we've been noticing. But we've just been trying to expand that and really grow from those areas, and really build out the sales team, operation team, make everything consistent. Because we got the next mission and the next part is once we get the new system down in the new warehouse, we're gonna start replicating these all across the country, everywhere we can find them. Every city that's over 500 people and meet 15 other criteria. But we're gonna start replicating it.
That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. So hopefully you invite me back one day on the podcast, and I can walk you through that stuff too. It'll be interesting.
Absolutely. You got all the right building blocks.
Yeah. I got the building blocks fell on me a couple times.
Oh yeah. But you restack them. It gets a little bit taller every time. Yeah. And then what do you like to do outside of the office?
So when I'm not working.
Yeah.
Well, I've been getting into content. More and more. And then mostly I bought a 4-wheeler and a dirt bike this year.
Oh, nice.
So, I just been playing around a lot more. It's the first year I'm actually buying stuff for myself. Yeah. I haven't really spent much time on it. I was I want to do that this year. I've done some stuff. I have the money for it. And then me and my friend Eddie, with my partner, we bought these Motor cars. Oh, really? And that's when the ones that come, one of the companies I think you work for, we bought 2 cars from them. Oh yeah. And then we just been doing stuff like that, just kind of get back to my childhood stuff like that, because I like building things when I grew up, and then now it seems most of my life have been optimized towards making money, and I'm trying to get back to focusing on doing things that I like to do a lot more too. That's not just associated with money. Yeah. But if I get paid to do it too, I like that too.
That's a win-win. It's bonus.
Yeah. And then trying to do more podcasts like this right here, and then. But my real thing outside of just right here is that I've been working on this book with my partner Eddie, and it's a rental book.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so I'm trying to, I'm just a lot of stuff we've learned, the problems and stuff we have. I'm just trying to find one place for people to come in the industry and can avoid all that stuff. Yeah. Because we caught so much issues and problems and had to deal with all these pain points that we could have just avoided if we would just follow the stuff. We'd have managed the money right from the beginning. We would have not use our credit cards to go buy stuff at the beginning, so we keep our credit high, and we don't have to deal with the 2 years of dealing with that right there. If we would just went out and just got a loan instead of the credit card, and then how you place and do certain purchases at certain times, understanding what and how to track certain people and how to do certain, how to incentivize people to do the right things, how you should run your systems, where you should get your clients from, what stuff we've seen that's proven, what stuff you should track, all this stuff right here. So that's kind of like been like my side project on there.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome. I can't wait for it to come out. I'll definitely get a copy.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'm sending you one. I'm sending 2.
Oh, appreciate it. I always read a book a month.
Yeah. You do? So how's that go?
Oh yeah, pretty good. They're usually business or philosophy. So this month I'm almost done reading. I forget the actual title of the book, but it's by the Joel Burney, the founder of Home Depot.
Yeah.
And they're fascinating journey, just building a store and just going from just
does it dive deep into the separation portion?
Oh, the what now?
From the Lowe's and stuff, the wife thing.
It hasn't touched that topic yet.
That's what. Yeah.
But I think that's been one of my favorites this year. And I read what was it? I forget the first gentleman who founded Netflix. I know Reed is what a lot of people know as the face of it, because he was the CEO once they got the first big cash infusion and they expanded the company from a concept. But that was a month before. So I always like them. In terms of retail, I think Sam Walton's book was last year. That was one of my absolute favorites. And it actually reminded me of when you were talking about the airplanes and how does an airplane be a taxi destination, how's a business. But Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart and Sam's Club, he was a big aviation fan, so he had an airplane. And when they first started the company, they didn't have Google Maps or anything. So he would actually take his plane and fly around just trying to find big plots of land, like where would be a good spot for our store.
That's crazy.
It's like, where would be a good one? And then once he was so passionate about the store, every time they opened a store, he wanted to be involved. So he'd go do checks on the store. And he, of course, found, it's cheaper and faster for me to just fly myself. So he'd go all over the country doing quality controls, getting to know the people working the stores. And consistently, when I look at all these books, the businesses that are always the most successful long-term are the ones that the founders and the later leaders, they all have a fierce passion for putting the customer first and just doing everything they can to improve the customer experience and make sure they're happy. And that's how the businesses keep growing. So that's how I'm trying to grow my business. And I can clearly see that's how you're doing your business as well.
Yeah. Because without any happy customers, you don't get nothing. And for us, our customers should be happy throwing parties.
Exactly, right?
But we try to make people understand, like, you're still throwing a party, like, it's fine. Like, everything's going to work out,
Exactly.
Like, don't worry about little things. So we had a guy today, literally before I got here, I went to one of the Irving warehouse because I was dropping some dishes off that, because we resell stuff too. Right. We do like a little small bit of it. And then one of the person was like, hey, like this mark right here. And then I told the guy, like, what matters most to you? Yeah. He's like, well, we're going to take a photo. Okay, I knew that. You'll take a photo. So put that chair over there, take a photo, tell me if you see it. Yeah. And he's like, all right, perfect. And you don't see it because you don't see it because it might be little scratches. It's rent and stuff. Oh, yeah. And they might be on the side, but like on the part that you're actually going to see and feel. Like, if it's at the bottom, on that part. But we're trying to make people too, because I think in the party space, we get kind of hyped. A lot of people get overhyped on things that don't matter to actually your event. Yeah. And we try to sway people to understand, like, you are still throwing an event and this is your important day. You shouldn't be worried about these little things. And then with the convenience, taking care of the stuff and doing that stuff, we kind of hopefully eliminate eliminate a lot of that worry for them, and just on the full service side.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I cannot wait to see your company continue to grow.
I appreciate that.
Thanks for coming on the show, bud. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, so much for listening. Topping Talks, don't forget, is also on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and more. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers. Heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone. Just y'all stay safe. You have a great day. Topping Talks.